Hey, so should you go for Kappa in PvE? Short answer first, because I don't want to waste your time. If you're a casual Tarkov PvE player, Kappa is probably not worth going for. The same applies if you're mainly interested in the story. Kappa is not required for the story at all. If you're a completion-driven player who enjoys Tarkov as a long-term system, someone who needs a clear goal to work towards, then yes, it makes sense. Kappa is an excellent long-term objective. If you're someone who sticks with Tarkov and chips away at the quest at your own pace, it's very achievable. This video is not about how to get Kappa, it's about whether chasing it actually is a good decision for you, and why a lot of people burn out before they even get close. If you would like a proper Kappa guide, let me know in the comments. And of course, liking and subbing helps out a lot. Thank you. First, let's establish what Kappa actually is and what it means. Kappa is a secure container in Escape from Tarkov that is larger than any other container in the game. Compared to the standard edition, it triples your secure container space. And compared to EOD or Unheard, it still gives you 30% more space. Kappa used to be this very prestigious achievement, something only a small percentage of the player base would get. In PvP, I think we're talking about maybe 1 to 5%. Before the story existed, Kappa was the thing to go for, the absolute pinnacle of Tarkov progression. But with the addition of the story and 4 different endings, Tarkov now offers an alternative progression path, one that is mostly free from tedious and annoying quests, and honestly the path I would recommend for more casual players. This is not my first time thinking about Kappa. I got it in PvE before 1.0, and in PvP I was close multiple times over the years. Every single PvP attempt ended the same way. Not because of difficulty, but because of unpredictability and my own endurance. Bold action quests were always my personal wall. They force you to play in a very specific way that never really fit my playstyle. They are extremely variance heavy and mentally draining. That was usually the point where I stopped playing Tarkov for a while, because it generally made me sick of the game. I could never bring myself to fully push through them. In PvE, that entire dynamic changes. The same quest turn into predictable system, problems you can solve in a controlled way. That difference completely changes how you should think about Kappa. That's the lens I'm using for this video. It's not easy, it's still a grind, and it still takes time, but in PvE anyone who really wants Kappa can realistically get it. Most people think Kappa is about difficulty or skill, and while that's somewhat true for PvP, I think it's mainly about endurance and alignment in PvE. Alignment between how you play Tarkov and what the Kappa grind actually demands from you. If those two don't match, the grind feels miserable no matter how good you are. So instead of listing quests, I want to break this down by real friction points people run into. The first problem I personally ran into this wipe was XP. I finished all required quests and was only level 43. I could have been even faster, but I ran around 30 to 40 raids purely for content and to help friends. I also didn't complete many non-Kappa quests. I did a bunch of streets quests because I loved that map, but otherwise not much. The solution for me was running Labyrinth and farming bosses and guards. My highest Labyrinth run gave me about 72k XP. On top of that, as an EOD owner, I had access to the questline The Good Times, which is EOD only and rewards a significant amount of XP. The XP nerf compared to pre 1.0 is very noticeable, and honestly it's not something I'm a big fan of. I would personally prefer if they reverted it to the old values. The second major blocker is location-specific kill quests. Secured Perimeter and Evil Watchmen are good examples. These quests became especially annoying with the new 1.0 PMC spawns. This wipe it took me around 10 factory runs to finish Secured Perimeter and easily 15 to 20 custom runs for dorms. These quests are what I would call psychological blockers. They are not hard, but sprinting to empty dorms 15 raids in a row is incredibly frustrating and can really break your mental. Additionally, here are some other big friction points. They didn't affect me much this wipe, but they can be very annoying. Some quests are simply much harder to do solo, so I was very grateful that my friends helped me with them. 3 quests in particular come to mind: Hunting Trip, Controller, and Grenadier. For Hunting Trip, having someone spot Sturman for you is extremely valuable. The TAC 30 is really not ideal for spotting, especially in bad weather like snowstorms. Controller is doable solo, but it becomes tremendously easier if someone flashes the targets with a KS-23 for you and you can simply spray them down. Grenadier itself isn't that hard, but I ran out of impact grenades near the end. A friend dropped me the last 2 that I needed to finish the quest. Ironically, one of my biggest blockers for Kappa was my own progression-focused playstyle. I often don't loot at all. I rush objectives and extract. Kappa items are notoriously hard to find, and that's kind of the point. If you rarely loot, you don't get them passively. In the background you can see me turning in my items for collector, so I want to highlight a few of the harder ones. The evasion armband is easily the number one. It's insanely rare. I was extremely lucky to get it from one of my 14-hour cultist circle timers. I never saw one naturally all wipe, not even when playing with others. The one G-Phone, Cotton Beanie and Antique X were also quite difficult this time. I also want to mention John B. glasses. In my previous Kappa run, That item avoided me for over a week grinding every scav I could find. Interestingly, the very last item I was missing this time around was Loot Lord. I used to find those constantly on labs, but not this wipe. A friend found one and passed it on to me in Labyrinth. My advice here is simple. Collect Kappa items early, even if you're not sure you want to go for Kappa. Sometimes that cotton beanie, that John B, or that evasion armor is the only one you see the entire playthrough. There's also a cost to Kappa that nobody really talks about. Chasing Kappa distorts how you play Tarkov. You stop making decisions for fun, survival and money, and you start making decisions purely for progress. Dying becomes expensive in time, not in gear or rubles. You avoid content you enjoy because it doesn't move the counter. For example, I rarely try new guns while grinding Kappa. It's more efficient to just run weapons I already know. I actually had to force myself to try different guns for the Meta Guns video. Otherwise I would probably just run my MDR all day, which I did for most of this wipe. I also avoid boss fights when I don't have a quest for them. The risk to reward ratio is just not worth it for the progression. Even though it would be fun, that's the Kappa tax. Many things you enjoy become inefficient, so you stop doing them. There's a very important question. What is it actually like to have Kappa? Does it change anything? The honest answer is, not really. It makes decisions easier because you can bring more items into a raid. On maps where you find a lot of keys or items like intelligence folder or SSDs, it's nice to bring a second documents case. It used to be useful for extra ammo stacks, but that's no longer possible. Overall, it gives you flexibility, reduces friction and increases the value you extract. On average, you're gaining roughly about 60k more value per raid, like 20k per slot. It doesn't transform the game, it's still Tarkov, it's simply a quality of life improvement. Before we circle back to the main question, there's one more thing I would like to talk about, and that's if I would do anything differently next time. For this run, I followed a strict no scav rule. You can see my stats on screen. It took me about 280 PMC raids, and that would have been slightly less if I had focused purely on Kappa instead of making content. In the future, I would probably do a few efficient scav runs here and there. Like a simple spawn into factory, check what my scav has, and then extract. In general, I still advise avoiding scav runs whenever possible. PMC progression and skills are far more important. Sometimes, though, the scavs have the good items in their pockets. I do hope scavs getting more relevance with the Scav Life DLC. So back to the main question, should you go for Kappa? If you're very new to Tarkov and not even sure if you like the game yet, I wouldn't go for it immediately. Aim for the Epsilon container first, especially if you're on the standard edition, try different guns, learn the maps, enjoy the game and progress at your own pace. Pay attention to what the quests demand from you. If you don't enjoy that, that's completely fine, but it probably means you're not a good fit for the Kappa grind. If your enjoyment comes from freedom, choice and variety, Kappa is not the right path. If you're very story driven, I would suggest going for the different endings instead. Some of them are still grindy, but they are far less restrictive. On the other hand, if you are progression driven, if you enjoy constraints, solving problems and long-term goals, Kappa is for you. It's a great objective that can keep you engaged through difficult phases of the game. You either need to treat Tarkov as a long-term project or play it like a full-time job. In PvE, Kappa is a predictable, solvable objective that anyone with enough drive can achieve. In PvP, Kappa is mostly about prestige. In PvE, it's mainly a goal that keeps you engaged, something you can work towards over weeks and months. Finally, I want to set some realistic expectations. If this is your first time and you don't know every quest by heart, this will take you a long time. I know exactly which quests are required, where to find them and how to do them. I plan ahead from level 1. That's not realistic for beginners. You will need time, you will make mistakes and you will fail, and that's okay. It's part of the process. What you don't need to do is to figure out everything alone. There's a lot of good guides out there and the Tarkov wiki is extremely helpful. There's also a phone app that tracks your progress towards Kappa. It was a bit buggy for me, but it's still helpful, especially for tracking the Kappa items. And I want to clarify this, Kappa is not the endgame, it's one path. It shows you what Tarkov's endgame actually feels like. But there are many other goals, whether that's all on red, story endings, max level or 1 billion rubles. Make your own path, do what works for you and what you enjoy. I enjoy the Kappa grind and I will do it again. If you enjoyed this video, it would mean a lot if you liked and subscribed. See you in the next one, bye bye.